check, check. Good morning. I thought it would be fun for us to sing together this morning. No pressure. I think you know this one. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love, let me love. There they are. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love, yeah. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know that love is. You sound good, yeah. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know, yeah. Here we go. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy, yeah. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Me love, yeah, holy. Woo. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me learn from all the ways I fall. Let me learn from all the ways I fall. Oh, let me share the good that's overflowing. Good that's overflowing. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know that. Now we're going to clap. Here, let's clap. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy. Keep that clapping go. Woo. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Let me serve, let me serve. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, serve. Oh, let me share the good that's overflowing. Yeah, the good that's overflowing. Oh, let me care for those around the world. Let me care, let me care. Woo! Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let us love a holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let us love. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know. I want to know love. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know. Here's our last time here. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Thank you, Laura Berman. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing in a holy, holy way. We appreciate you today. Well, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland this morning. Those of you who came to join us in person, beating the heat, a little cooler in here than it is outside, right? And those of you who are joining us virtually this morning, Unity is a positive, practical, and progressive approach to the spiritual path, and we welcome you all to walk this journey with us. I'm Beth O'Shields. I'm your administrator. I'm not Reverend Lisa Davis if you're new here. Reverend Lisa is at the World Parliament of Religions Conference this week in Chicago. And I was checking out their website earlier this week, and it was interesting. The theme this year is a call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights. So I think that's really powerful. This parliament is going to be the most important and largest gathering of the world's religious and spiritual leaders and practitioners from around the world. And they're uniting in a collective, courageous, and clear reply to the most dangerous crisis confronting us today, which they say is authoritarianism. So Lisa's going to have some interesting insights to share with us when she gets back, and she will be back with us next week, so I wanted to let you all know that. But today, we are in the magnificent company of our musician, Laura Berman, who's back with us. Yes. After moving to Colorado, she's doing a tour back through here, and we're grateful that she stopped in to be with us today. And we also welcome Reverend Stephen Towles, who's with us this morning. Reverend Towles. And just to give you a little insight on him, he's a minister of 39 years. He's served in 5 different Unity Spiritual Centers, and he's written 2 marvelous books, which you'll be able to purchase and look at today following the service. He'll be out in the lobby, as well as Laura with her CDs, so lots of opportunities for sharing this morning. So as we get ready to share our opening prayer this morning, I want to be mindful of the people of Maui. And I know it's been, and there's also a lot of people who've been affected by catastrophic weather events this past week throughout the world. But, you know, I have to say I felt a little glimmer of hope this morning after a lot of grieving over the weekend. I know many of us hold that place very dear to our hearts. But I saw that the banyan tree is still standing. And that was just such, I mean, that was the first thing. I know my daughter and I just literally sat and cried when we thought that that tree, that we might lose that couple of 100-year-old banyan tree. But I thought it was also interesting, for those of you who don't know, in Hawaiian culture, the banyan tree is a symbol of growth, strength, and rebirth. And we know that that's true for the people of the Hawaiian Islands, right? We're going to hold that for them in our hearts and minds. So if you'll join me in prayer this morning, center in and take a deep breath and get yourself in the room this morning from all the hustle and bustle of getting here. And we just open our hearts and our minds this morning to the knowing that things are perfect, whole, and complete, regardless of appearances. That we are perfect, whole, and complete beings, just as we are, wherever we are on our spiritual path. And we're so grateful to walk this path with each other, learning, growing, encouraging, loving. We give thanks for the gifts that are ours today through the message, through the music, through our community, centering ourselves in gratitude. And we open our hearts to hold all of those in Maui today and in the storm-stricken states and countries that are experiencing loss. We lift them up in spirit. We surround them with our healing love as they move through these next days of uncertainty. And collectively, we hold a bigger picture of wholeness for them, for our community, for our world. And in steadfast faith and gratitude, we say, thank you, Spirit. And so it is. And Unity is a ministry based on intentional prayer. We have prayer chaplains who are available to pray with you this morning. Lynn and Lisa are available following the service to meet with you up front here. If you have a prayer need or need some emotional support this morning, they are here for you. If you're not ready to share that in person, there are prayer requests in the backs of the chairs. You can fill those out. We have a prayer box that's right here. You can drop those in. Those will be held by our prayer team for 30 days. And then they send those on to Silent Unity for another 30 or 60 days. Yeah, so you get 60 days of being held in that wonderful light and love of intentional prayer. Also, we have a dial-a-prayer, which the messages change daily. If you need a little lift during the week, you can always call the number and feel that. wonderful support. We have little business cards out on the table that have that number on it to make it easy so you can pick one of those up and stick it next to your phone. So I'm going to share, we're going right into the announcements. This is my hub, this is my area here, so I'm in my mode now. Yes, it's great to be back with you all. First of all, I want to thank all the people who supported me while I went off to get a little rest and renewal. And, you know, I say if you're not renewed after a 5-hour float down a river, it's just not ever going to happen. But it has happened, and I'm feeling pretty great this morning today. So thank you for the opportunity to go off and do that. And then I want to thank the ice cream eaters from last week, because we had a very successful ice cream social that our garden team put together, and we thank the garden team for putting that on for us. But they raised almost $600. So we thank you so much for your generosity. Yep, it takes a little bit to keep that going and beautiful out there, but they do a wonderful job, and we are so grateful. So back by popular demand this Friday, the 18th, is our drum circle. They're coming back. We had such a good experience the last time they came. 7 o'clock here in the sanctuary, nice and cool. You can bring a drum if you have one, or a percussion instrument. But if not, they'll have some here for you to use, so don't sweat that. Come anyway. It's a $10 suggested love offering, and we hope you'll all come and join us this Friday. Our Helping Parents Heal group, which is our support group for parents and family who've lost a child. They typically meet on the 3rd Saturday. They will not be meeting next Saturday, but they'll be meeting the 4th Saturday. So if that's a group that you come for or that you're interested in, just make a note of that. It'll be on Saturday the 26th at 10:30. Next Sunday, following the service, Alan Watson, our licensed Unity teacher, is going to be presenting a Course in Miracles workshop. And I was not aware of this. Alan, you're quite the celebrity in the Course in Miracles circles, like around the world. His name is on the books that we're selling in the bookstore. I was like, wow, you know? So yeah, it's going to be really informative. They have come to a place where they are starting over at the beginning of the book. So this is like a journey, and so they've been doing it for years, and now they're back to the beginning. The Course in Miracles group will resume after Labor Day. So this is a precursor to that. If you kind of don't know what it is, your interest is piqued, come next Sunday following the service about 1:15. They're going to meet in the chapel, see what it's all about. So I know from being in Unity for 35 years, I know the course is a life-changing journey. It really is. So check into that. Okay, so in 2 weeks, on Friday, August the 25th, is our garden party. And this will be our second one of the year. We've got Larry Wilder and friends who are coming. And I don't know if you've he's magnificent, and his friends are great too. And it's just going to be a fun night of music and getting together. Physical tickets will go on sale next Sunday, but you can go to the donate button on the website. There's a pull down menu, and you can pull that down and hit garden party, and you can buy your ticket there. And we will have food for sale and wine for sale, and there's all kinds of good things. Colleen told me she is making a wonderful barbecue with cranberry coleslaw. So there will be that, as well as many other treats, including vegetarian goodies. So make sure you plan for that. I want to mention, too, that our summer outreach, which this summer outreach is all about the kids. And so they're collecting diapers, clothes, all things for young people. There's a list of items that are still needed. You have 2 Sundays to go get your shopping done and get those items in, or you can donate money, and they'll do the shopping for you, which is awesome too if you're not into that. So you can either donate in the little box on their table, or again, you can go to the website, to the donate button, the pull down menu, and it's on there as well. We are looking for some spirit group leaders for our fall program. I'm happy to announce the spirit groups will be resuming on October 1st. The book that Lisa's going to be using on Sundays is Living Untethered by Michael Singer. So we'll be forming small support groups, book study groups. We meet on Zoom. There's a couple of in person, but we're looking for a few more leaders. Annette Boswell's our new coordinator of the spirit group, so we look forward. She'll be returning from vacation next week. we're excited to get back to it. So if this is something, a way that you think you would like to serve here at Unity, we welcome you. So there's a lot of things coming up in September, and I'm not going to go through them all because it's just too many. But I will let you know we've got a World Day of Prayer coming up. We've got plein air painting in the garden with Annette Boswell for the Makers Meetup. We've got special guest speakers and workshops. All of these are in the newsletter. They're on the website. Make sure you check those out. If you're not on the newsletter, getting the newsletter every week, make sure you fill out a green card that's in the back of your chair. We'll get you on the list. So there's a couple of additional things that I have to mention. And one is that we've been invited to participate in the Portland Winter Light Festival this year, which happens in February. And so I'm putting a call out to all the creatives in our community. If this is something that you feel you might be interested in creating and making happen over in our east parking lot, we have a wonderful space for it. We've already decided if we do this, we're gonna light up the labyrinth, which is pretty cool, right? So it's for 2 weekends in February. I know everybody's super busy this summer, but trust me, you're gonna be bored in February and you're gonna want something to do. So if you're one of those creative people, come and see me and talk to me, and let's get you on this list, and let's meet and get some creative ideas going for what we can do for the community. They had over 200,000 people come through the Light Festival last year, okay? So if we get a third of that coming through our parking lot and learning more about us, it's a wonderful way to reach out into the community. So I'm just seeding that idea with all you people right now. And then, of a more urgent nature, today following the service, we need all the chairs moved. We have a rental that's coming in this week. They're doing photography training or something, but we have a wonderful rental, but they need the chairs cleared. So after the service, if everybody could lend a hand, move a few chairs, not more than 4 high, leave the outlets accessible, I appreciate it. I'll remind you at the end of the service. We thank you in advance. All right, at this time, I'd like to welcome anyone who's with us for the first time. If this is your first time with us, we welcome you. We're glad you're here. Maybe you just haven't been here in a while, but we'd like to present you with a welcome packet. So if you'd raise your hand so that our ushers could see where you're at, they'd like to give you a welcome packet. On the front, there's a rose sticker, and we'd like you to peel that off and stick it to your clothing so we know who you are. We invite you down to Coffee and Connection. Come on down. Somebody in the back corner. There we go. And on the back, as I mentioned earlier, there's a neon card. We'd love for you to fill that out, and so we can get you on our newsletter. So you'll get our newsletter every week. So we're very happy to have you with us today. All right. At this time, I'm going to ask you to stand and join Laura in our congregational song.
I am open, I am open, I am open to receive the love in you and me. I am open, I am open, I am open to receive the love in you and me. Let's sing that one again. And for those of you who love to harmonize, go ahead. I am open, I am open, I am open to receive the love in you and me. I am open, I am open, I am open to receive the love in you and me. Let's know it for each other. And you are open. You are open. You are open. You are open to receive the love in you and me. You are open. You are open to receive
And now is the time where we get to share that open love with each other with a hug or a hi and a handshake. Take a minute to greet your neighbor.
To the love, open to the love in you and me.
Okay, great. Okay, if you'll all take your seats again, we can continue this after the service, downstairs at Coffee and Connection. That's a great place to finish. So yeah, without further ado, I would like to bring up Reverend Towles for our meditation and message this morning. Reverend Towles, thank you.
Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary for you. Oh, prepare me to be your sanctuary, pure and holy. I am tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary for you. And I am your sanctuary, God. I am yours. Oh, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours. So prepare me to be your sanctuary. I am pure and I am holy. I'm tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary. I am yours, I am yours, I am your sanctuary.
And so in this sweet and sacred moment, in this sanctuary from the world, a place we come to touch the hearts and souls of each other, to open ourselves to the divine presence that is within each one of us, and to the divine beings that we are. And so we take a very special journey this morning, a journey that takes us deep within the heart and soul of our very nature. We let go of the world around us, of the things in our life, of our possessions, of all that is. And we take time to just connect with the divine spirit of love. We open our hearts and our minds and our souls, and it reflects in the way we stand and the way we sit. We become more relaxed and more peaceful. We let go of any stress in our life, anything that might be getting in our way. We just set it aside and let it go. It is not a part of this reality. That is only a temporal experience in our life. It is not the real world. The real world is here and now within us, within our heart and within our soul and within our mind, within our understanding of who it is that we are and why it is that we are here. That we are here to become the living embodiment of the Holy Spirit of God. We are here to touch each other's lives in some meaningful and powerful way. We are here to bring all the wisdom that lives within us into the way in which we live our life. The steps that we take, the journeys that we start and finish, the ideas that we bring forth, the transformations that we make, the creations that we seek to bring forth out of the divine essence, the spiritual ethers, according to Charles Fillmore. That we are literally calling forth spirit, and we are forming that spirit into something that we can see and touch and feel on a human level. And it is a divine creation. It is how we live our life. It is how we call forth into our life the experiences that are so important to us. It is how we heal our body in this moment. That we see our body as an instrument. Our body is not who we are. Our body is an expression of the real self. And our body is under the authority of spirit. And so we tell all the parts of our body with love and with affection and with appreciation that this is the vehicle through which we travel through this experience. And we see it as it truly is, as whole and well and perfect and functioning in every way. No matter what age or condition we might think we are experiencing, it is only an illusion. The reality is who we are as a spiritual being. The reality is that the physical body is under the authority of spirit. The reality is that we have the power to work with it, to be with it, to appreciate it, to love it into wholeness. We are so blessed to have these physical bodies to experience the world in which we live. And so every step we take, every journey we go on is an opportunity, a way in which we can express the life and love and energy of God, the divine presence, the creative energy. Every person we meet, every hand we shake, every hug we experience, every rejection that we have are nothing more than opportunities to truly ground ourselves in spirit as we are doing right this minute. And so let's just take a moment as we feel the presence of spirit within us and the presence of spirit all around us in this room. Just take a moment to allow this energy to flow, to send our thoughts and feelings to all the places in this world that may need our support and love, to Hawaii and Maui and all the places on the planet that are experiencing difficulty and challenge. And we see new life, new growth, new unfoldment, new possibilities within the changes that are occurring. And so in this divine presence, in this prayerful moment, let us just take a moment to just rest in the pure silence of our own being, in the silence. And so in our spiritual journey, we can know that we can go to this place anytime, under any circumstance, and center ourselves in the power of who we are, in the love of God. And so for this, we give thanks. In the name and through the power of the living presence, and so it is. Amen.
Oh, the bold hands trace a path in the sand, forming places where I am sure to land. You make me the shape I'm in. You end, then you begin again, like music from a violin, molding this melody into my bones and into my skin like clay. And you find stone and you carve above to below. See a line and you make right from the wrong. You make me the shape I'm in. You end, then you begin again, like music from a violin, molding this melody into my bones and into my skin, like clay, like clay. Turns that'll wind me up, curves that'll carve me out of nothing. I am something. Hands that'll sculpt me from rock, that'll soften as clay. I am something. I am something. Oh, you make me the shape I'm in. You end, then you begin again, like music from a violin, molding this melody
Thank you so much. It's beautiful. Well, it's good to be me. As George Burns once said, I'm happy to be here. At my age, I'm happy to be anywhere. So it's great to be a part of your community today and to show up and to have this experience and to enjoy this beautiful music and to feel the love and the peace and the joy that is here and to be a part of your experience. My last several years has been a time of journeying for me, spiritual journeys. I've been to the Camino 3 times on spiritual journeys. I've been to Bali to see Gede Prama in a particular journey that my partner Carrie and I went on. And most recently, I was Minister of the Month, Flavor of the Month, at Namaste Village in Ajijic, Mexico. How many of you know about Namaste Village? It's a community, it's an intentional community started by James Twyman, who actually has some strong ties to the Portland area because his daughter lives here. And he is a Franciscan monk and a peace troubadour. He's been over the last many years, he's written some 30 books, and sweet guy, nice guy, powerful individual. And he started a spiritual community in Ajijic, Mexico, which is just 30 miles south of Guadalajara on Lake Chapala, which is the largest freshwater lake in Mexico. It's a large expat community for people who want to retire to Mexico. And so a Unity ministry started there, and they have services every Sunday, and so they have a minister that comes down once a month and stays there for the month, and the community provides an apartment, a very modest apartment. James has the most modest apartment in the place, and so he shares that same intention with the minister who shows up. And so we have the opportunity to feel the humble experience of living modestly for a month. And so we enjoyed that experience. Namaste Village, there's about 50 people who live there now, who have retired there, and of a lot of different ages, and people come and visit on a regular basis, and they have a service every day at 9 o'clock for a half an hour community experience that is broadcast. You can catch it on the internet, just Namaste Village, and you'll find it on YouTube every day. And so we were enjoying our experience there and sharing with the folks and connecting with everybody. And just towards the end of our experience, I was sitting there, and they have dinner outside. And the kitchen's outside. Most everything's outside in that community. And so right after dinner, we're just finishing up, and all of a sudden James comes out of his little living place, and he says, Steve, it's time for you to walk the plank. And I'm like, what? He says, yes, come here. I said, okay, so I came there, and he had in his hand an Ocular Rift, one of the virtual reality masks that you put on. And so he sticks this virtual reality mask on me, and he gives me this little control thing. And I've done a virtual reality thing once before with an architect, but it was a little different experience. So he puts it on, and he says, okay, I find myself in a city, on a street in a city, very hot, tall buildings around me. He says, okay, turn around. So I turned around, said, push the button, and I pushed the button, and elevator doors opened up, and he says, step on the elevator. So I stepped on the elevator, turned around, and pushed the button in the elevator, and it took me up 100 floors in this building. And so when I got to the top, the elevator doors opened up, and I was looking straight down at the street below, 100 stories. And there was a board that went straight out over this vast, cavernous thing. And he says, okay, he said, now it's time to walk the plank. So I went to the edge and looked down, and I put a foot out, like this. I hear him standing on concrete, right? All around me. Put my foot out like this, and I could, I get my, then I start to like this, and like this, and so finally, and I come back, and then all of a sudden I started feeling vertigo, and I started getting dizzy, and it's this little plank. And I know that I could just walk right out on it, I mean, intellectually, right? You know that? But every single primal survival, fear neuron in my body was firing off. And I could not overcome it intellectually. Even though I knew that this was not real. And finally I said, I can't do it, which is totally against my nature. I mean, I'm an Aries, right? It's ready, fire, aim. You just do it, right? But I couldn't do it. And so I took it off, and it's kind of, you're a little embarrassed. And James says, well, he says, 80% of the people who do this can't walk the plank. They can't go out on it because it's so real. And afterwards, somebody says, well, all you have to do is close your eyes. And you block out the whole thing. Well, there's a tremendous lesson for me in that experience in how we relate to the world around us, to the reality in which we live, and the virtual reality of our world. In A Course in Miracles, the books, it's interesting that you're starting over with the Course in Miracles. It says in the beginning of the Course in Miracles, it says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. There's a fundamental distinction between the real and the unreal, between knowledge and perception. Knowledge is truth. Under one law, the law of love or God. Truth is unalterable, eternal, and unambiguous. It can be unrecognized, but it cannot be changed. It applies to everything that God created, and only what God created is real. It is beyond learning because it is beyond time and process. It has no opposite, no beginning, and no end. It merely is. That's the real. That's the knowledge. That's the truth. That's what lives within us. The world of perception, on the other hand, is the world of time, of change, of beginnings and endings. It is based on interpretation, not facts. It is the world of birth and death, founded on the belief in scarcity, loss, separation, and death. It is learned rather than given, selective in its perceptual emphasis, unstable in its functioning, and inaccurate in its interpretations. And that's the expression of the world around us. That's the virtual reality in which we think we live, in which we think is who we are, in which we think is what is real. From knowledge and perception, respectively, two distinct thought systems arise which are opposite in every respect. In the realm of knowledge, that no thoughts exist apart from God, because God and His creation share one will. The world of perception, however, is made by the belief in opposites and separate wills, in perpetual conflict with each other and with God. What perception sees and hears appears to be real because it permits into awareness only what conforms to the wishes of the perceiver. In other words, we see what we want to see in the world around us. That's what shows up. And what we see is based on typically on our experience, how we grew up, how our thoughts and feelings came together, and when we are willing to begin to look at those things and to work with those experiences, then we begin to change the perceived world into the real, into the part in which we are connected to who it is we are, into the self. And this leads to a world which needs constant defense, precisely because it is not real. It is not the reality of who we are. We are spiritual beings, as Wayne Dyer liked to say, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's what we're doing. And so the reality is our spiritual nature is the real. It is where our knowledge comes from. It is when we begin to see the world through our spiritual eyes, we begin to realize that there is nothing permanent in this world, in this created world in which we live. Nothing. Someday this earth will not exist, 5 billion years from now, or whatever the number of years is. It's hard for us to conceive in that reality, but nothing stays the same ever in this world, as much as we would like it to. And so the only security that we have in our life is the world of our inner life, our inner security, the world that brings us confidence and courage and gives us the ability to move out and forward in our life. And so we are all, every single one of us, whether we realize it or not just in this room or in Unity, we're all on a spiritual journey. Every single one of us on the planet that is in a human body is on a spiritual journey. They just may not know it, or think of it that way, or see it that way. We all are taking that journey. And life is a journey. Everything we do, it's a journey. My daughter Bridget, who I'm staying with and sitting right here, and we journeyed here this morning and got into traffic, and it was an interesting journey, and I had to calm myself down and kind of go with the reality that it's okay, that if we were a few minutes late, it's all right. So we're trying to figure out in our journey what's real, what's true, what's meaningful. And when we look around in the world of politics, perception is everything. And so in politics, the goal is to create whatever perception they want to create in whatever reality they're trying to create it in. And so our job is to try to see through that and see what is real, what is true, what is authentic. That's the challenge with it. And it's not a right or wrong thing, it's just what we're faced with in every situation that we're in our life. When I was approaching my 70th birthday in 2019, I decided I wanted to do something meaningful. I decided I wanted to do something that was hard, that challenged me, that caused me to have to go deep within and to look at myself, because I wanted to decide how I wanted to live the next 30 years of my life. Right? That was the goal. That's the goal. Because I try to live my life as though I'm going to live to be 100. Whether I make it there or not, who knows? But that's the way I want to live my life. And so I thought, well, I'm going to take this journey. So I decided to go on the Camino de Santiago myself, just not with anybody else, but just do it myself, which is I found out is a very common thing that a lot of the folks that go by themselves. And so I trained for it. I read books, every book I could find. I watched videos, YouTube videos, and there's a lot of them you can watch about that. Learned what to take. I didn't pay as much attention to my shoes and feet as I probably should have. That was, but that, I didn't know, right? You think you're doing just fine. And so finally, on Easter Sunday, April 21st, 2019, after the Sunday service, I was a minister in Coeur d'Alene at that time. It was a week after my 70th birthday. I got on a plane, spent 36 hours getting from Coeur d'Alene to Saint-Jean-de-Pied-de-Port, France, through Paris, and taking a train to Paris. And I showed up there the day after I left, in the evening, the day after I left, and checked in, met some people, got all ready to go, very excited. Felt like I had my stuff together, and I'd made arrangements with this couple that I met on the train that we'd walk together the first day. They're a couple from South Africa. And so the next morning I got up and I got everything on and ready to go, and I couldn't find the couple. And all of a sudden I got my feelings hurt because they left without me. At least that's what I thought, right? Perception, right? Showing up. And I thought, whoop, wait a minute. Everybody's on their own Camino. Everybody's walking the way they're going to walk. It's not about getting my feelings hurt. It's about doing my journey. And so I came back to the truth of why I was there. But for a moment, my perception showed up in that experience. So I took off, and it was about 7 in the morning, and I headed. And the first day's walk is a 4,000-foot elevation climb over a 10-mile period. 10 miles in the Pyrenees. And in the Pyrenees, there's hardly any trees. They're pretty bare, and it's fairly steep. And it was a beautiful day. The sun was shining. The first 8 kilometers, I stopped for breakfast at an albergue. Halfway up, I was doing really well, had my breakfast, and then took off. And all of a sudden, the wind started blowing. And I'd noticed on my phone app that there's these little squiggles, but I didn't pay any attention to them. Well, the wind started blowing, and it started blowing harder and harder and harder and harder. And I don't know what the speed was, but I'm guessing it's probably 50-knot winds were showing up there. There was really, really, you could hardly walk through them. And so I just kept going. Finally, and people were like, everybody was struggling. It was just very difficult. But I kept going, and finally I got to this little hut. And I stepped in this little hut to get out of the wind for a few minutes. And I was pretty close to the top. And there was must have been about 10, 15 people in this little hut standing there in the dark with their backpacks. And it was quiet. And I was like, I was looking around. And all of a sudden I felt this fear. That fear was really present in the hut. That these people were afraid. And it hadn't occurred to me to be afraid. And they were afraid, and I thought, I can't stay here. I can't stay in this fear because it's going to stop me. So I just spoke up, and I just said, I'm leaving. Does anybody want to come with me? And nobody came. And so I took off, and I kept going, and I'd walk up the hill 20 feet, stop and catch my breath, walk up 20 feet, stop and catch my breath. And then I had a thought. I said, well, it can't get any worse than this. And it started snowing. Sideways, because of the wind. And I had no gloves. I didn't think I'd need gloves, I had no gloves. And so finally I got to the top and started down and got out of the wind, and it was very steep and it was really hard on my feet, but I worked my way down the mountain, and I got into these trees and walked along this trail, came, and I saw an opening, and then these people were in front of me, and this guy turns around as I approached this opening, and he says, congratulations. He said, you made it. And it was like, yes, there was Roncesvalles and the albergue at Roncesvalles, and I'd made it the first day, and it was 2 o'clock. I left at 7 and got in there at 2 o'clock. Went up, checked in, took a 2-hour nap. I was exhausted, had dinner with some folks from Portugal that night, and got up, and the next day, it was kind of rainy, but I hooked up with a girl 22-year-old girl from Hungary, who had been a member of the Hungarian gymnastics team and had blown her knee out. And so she got kicked off the team because of her injury, and so she was doing the Camino because she was trying to figure out what she wanted to do with the rest of her life. And we had a wonderful day just talking. It was like walking with one of my kids or grandkids, and it was just wonderful. We had a great day, and so that day went well. The next day we walked together for a couple of days, and then I took off. And my first week on the Camino was, it was challenging. And one day I walked 23 miles, but my feet kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I was trying to deal with them. Finally, I had to stop at a small town. I ended up taking a bus ahead for a couple of days because I knew I had to rest and deal with my feet. So I went to Burgos. I rested for a couple of days, but I was too antsy. And finally, I just wrapped my feet up as best I could, and I took off and walked another 50 miles to a little town called Carrion de las Condes. And I met a woman there. Her name is Nuis de Salvadora, and she saw my feet, and she said, Stephen, I need to take you to the doctor. So she took me to the medico, they call them medicos, took me to the doctor. And I'm lying on the table, and they took my bandages off, and they had to cut a lot of the stuff off with a scalpel, and my feet all the skin was peeling off the bottom of my feet, and they were infected. And I kept hearing them, they're talking in Spanish, Nuis and they were talking. I kept hearing the word loco. And afterward I said, are you guys talking about me? And she goes, yeah. I said, they think you're loco. Think you're crazy for walking on those feet for 50 miles. You're nuts. And you cannot walk on them for 10 days. You cannot walk any distance for 10 days. So I had to come home. And so I came home. And of course, it's a defeat, right? It's like, it's just like, I didn't do it. I didn't make it. How does that feel? You spend all that time and energy and effort and all the expectations and all the stuff that goes with it, and you come back home. And I came back home, and it was amazing. Barry Watson, who is a friend of mine in Coeur d'Alene, he's a magistrate judge, and he actually lives in Portland now. He got married and moved to Portland recently. But he had walked the Camino the fall before and got plantar fasciitis halfway through. So he had to come home, and so he was on his way. He was heading back in September to finish. And so he shared that with me, and I found all these connections with people that I didn't realize, or I didn't have before. And so the experience turned out to be a positive one. Now it took me, I decided I wanted to come back and finish. Barry kind of motivated me to do that. It took me 2.5 years because of COVID. And finally in September of 2021, I went back and I started at the town before the town I stopped at. I started in a little town called Fromista. And Nuis de Salvador, who had helped me, we had been communicating, and she helped me kind of set my schedule up for my second trip. And when I arrived in Fromista, she greeted me. She was there. And she's a cancer survivor, and she'd gone on the Camino because of that. And so because I was there, she went to Burgos and walked 3 days, and she was doing this Camino, a different route than I was doing. But she walked and met me there the day I arrived. We walked together the next day. Turned out that she got an infected toenail, so I had to take her to the doctor, and they took off her toenail, and they had so she couldn't go on. So I had to run errands for her like she did for just exactly. I mean, it was like a reverse osmosis, exactly like she did for me. And so I went and got her prescription and all that kind of stuff, and then she went on to on to Leon, and I walked with some people that she'd introduced me to from there to Leon. And the Camino wasn't very crowded. It was at the end of COVID, and they could only hold half people, in the albergues and the hostels and stuff. And so most of the people walking were Spaniards, and most of them didn't know English, so it was a very kind of a lonely Camino, if you will. There wasn't a lot of people to connect to, but I walked the Camino. I met a couple of folks. I finished it. Partway through, I was thinking, I think I'm done with the Camino. I had about 3 or 4 days to go, and finally I got to Santiago, and it was such an incredible experience walking into the place we were going. And when I got back home after that, I said, I've got to do the whole thing. So a year later, in September of 2022, with the support of my partner Carrie, I went back. And during that time, I lost 30 pounds. I walked a lot more than I had walked before. I got to Saint Jean de Pied-de-Port, beautiful weather. I was ready. Do you know that feeling? That you just know that this is it. This is the moment. So I started off, and I ended up meeting this young man named Hendrik, partway up the Pyrenees. And he's a 24-year-old from Germany, from Berlin. And he was there because he just graduated college and he was starting a new job in November. And so we hooked up and we walked together. And nice young man, we enjoyed each other's company, and it was just an easy walk. I mean, it was like nothing. And it was like it completely transformed my experience of the previous time walking up the Pyrenees. And I have a lot of pictures, beautiful pictures and all that stuff. And so I walked with Hendricks and then another young woman named Nara Kim, who is from New Jersey, who's a Korean, moved there when she was 2, her family did. And she was there because she was between jobs. She quit her job. She's going to travel for a year. And so she walked with us. And you just kind of start collecting people, right, as you go along. It's like, this family starts to form in the Camino, and you start making these connections. And it's such a parallel to the spiritual journey in life. And the difference is that the Camino is what life would be like if we treated each other with respect and kindness and without judgment. Because we were all walking to the same place. We're all walking to Santiago. That's our journey. That's where we're going. And so everybody had that particular focus, and in the walk, you meet people from all over the world, from all different countries. I think I counted 25 different countries where I connected with people. You make incredible friends, and the Camino, or any journey in life that we make, or any spiritual journey, is not what we think it is. It's not what I thought it would be, because the Camino turned out to be about connection. It turned out to be about making the connections with other people. Deep, emotional connections where you literally fall in love with the people that you are with, that they become your family, they become your friends. And there's just this synergy, this connection that occurs that is unlike anything that I had ever experienced in the past. When we were at Namaste Village, my partner Carrie, at the end, she said to me, you know, these people, I really like these people. And it's because we'd spent a month having deep conversations with other people, deep connections with other people. She says, I could be friends with these people. And I said, now you know what I experienced on my Camino. That what transformed my life wasn't so much the journey or the town or all the other experiences, which were amazing. It was the people that I spent time with. I know it's getting towards the end of my lesson, but I want to share with you at the end, I don't know if I can do this and talk at the same time here. But, let's see. Where are we? Here we go. At the end, I bet you I adopted 10 granddaughters and 20 daughters, Camino daughters, and sons, daughters and sons of all different ages. And so here I wrote to Hendrik at the end, and I said, not quite here. So the text I sent him was, I said, hi, Hendrik. I'm on the train to Madrid to catch my flight. As I reflect on our time together walking in our other times on the journey, I feel compelled to affirm the blessing you are and will continue to be throughout your life journey. You possess qualities of kindness, compassion, and a compelling curiosity that is contagious. From one who is moving toward the end of life to one who's just at the beginning of their journey, I wish you much success and joy as you continue to live an authentic life. You'll most certainly find your way, of that I am sure. Much love and many blessings to you on your journey. Please stay in touch, your Camino friend, Stephen. A couple of days later, he wrote back. He said, hi, Stephen. I hope you are safe and sound home already, maybe drinking hot cocoa while watching over the lake. I'm sitting in the next bus heading to Lisbon now, hoping I catch both good weather and some waves. Your message meant a lot to me, and I had to let it sink in a little bit before I answer in detail now. You're one of the persons that inspired me the most on the Camino. And I can say by heart that you definitely served and will serve as a big role model in terms of how you don't judge other people and try to always see the best in them. You made me rethink my relationship I have with my father and grandfather, and I really want to improve on that. You kind of allowed me to see my problems in a different light, and I'm very thankful for the new perspectives. While walking to Finisterre, I thought about what this Camino might provide me at the end, and I think I sharpened my overall senses both mentally and physically. And right now, my body tells me to get my butt and move it, because it isn't used to sitting still in a bus anymore. Tabor finished that thought by saying, it is all a beautiful mess. I will give my best to try and stay in touch, and we'll do some research on unity when I'm back in Berlin. Until then, stay safe, healthy, and please stay just the way you are. People like you make the world a better place and build bridges between generations. That's what I remember. That's what's real. That's what's important in our journey. It's not the things that we have. When we're at the end of our life, we don't think about getting a new Tesla. We think about who we loved and who we cared about and who we connected with. That's what's real in this spiritual journey that we are all on. That's what I tried, that's what I understood. That's the transformation in me that deepened that awareness and that understanding. And I could probably sit here and read 10 of those messages because I sent those kinds of texts to many of the people with whom I walked and connected with, especially those who were young, and a lot of them were, and those who I sort of adopted. And still stay in touch with and still connect with and see on Facebook and make those dynamic realities come true. And so that's the journey. And the books that I wrote this book is my Camino experience. And it's more my first two, but it has some of my last one in it as well. But also I wrote these books not because I was trying to make money, not because I was trying to brag about anything. I wrote these books for my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids so that they will know who I am. That's why I wrote them. But people who have read them have seemed to find them meaningful to them as well. And so I invite you, we'll be selling the books out here afterwards. You can get both books for $20, which is about $4 less than if you bought them separately. And so Bridget and I will be out taking care of it afterwards. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank Lisa for her willingness to invite me to come here. I came here with June to visit Bridget, and we came to church, and I mentioned it to Lisa, and she had me come here. And so thank you for your time today. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you, and may you go forth in peace. May your hearts remain open. May you be awakened to the light of your true nature. May you be healed, and may you be a healing source for all beings. And so it is.
You're getting applause from everybody. Thank you, Reverend Towles, for sharing your journey with us. It was a pleasure. We know you'll want to meet with him outside at the desk here to the right following the service and check those books out. This is the time where we share our gifts of gratitude with Unity, and there are 3 ways that you can do that. There are these little blue cards in the backs of the chairs. The easiest way to do that is through online texting. Text Unity of Portland to 833-814-3477. You can give your donation that way. You can do it online at unityofportland.org, or the old-fashioned way where you just put a check or cash in the love offering when it comes around. So our ushers are coming forward, I think. Yes, here we go. All right, if you will take your gift in your hand, we will say our blessing together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you.
Was a good thing. Then one by one we came undone, like we dimmed the sun. And I wanna see that now isn't how we wanna be. Oh, it's all on the table. We are shakeable, sometimes breakable, but always us and them, take our attention, we lost direction, oh, and we've got a hold on what we think we know, still don't get too close. Oh, I wanna see the now isn't how we wanna be. Oh, it's all on the table now. We are shakeable, sometimes breakable, but always, we are always indestructible. Rattle the walls, lean in and fall, count to 10, then try again. Oh, I wanna be right here, and we are sometimes shakeable, sometimes we are breakable, but I know we are indestructible. Oh, we are indestructible. Sometimes we are shakeable, but always indestructible. Oh, we are indestructible.
Beautiful. Thank you, Laura. Beautiful. Remember, you can get Laura's CDs out at the table following all that beautiful original music. We appreciate you. Okay, so now we're going to welcome our youth in. Come on in.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Hey, yes, welcome. Welcome, youth. I want to make one quick little announcement Don wanted me to make. Whoops. So this week we received a check from the can collection that goes to our youth ed. We got a $1,000 check. So you're making a difference. Grab those blue bags and fill them up. We're grateful for them.
Okay, we have all kinds of little critters here today, big ones and little ones. I just want to share next week, if you have some children that aren't here or your grandkids, I think we're going to have water play. I should have done it this week, but so come dressed appropriately so we can do water play during our time.
Sounds like a fun Sunday in youth ed, doesn't it? All right, if you all will stand, we will sing our peace song together.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on
And now, if you'll join me in our unity prayer together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Okay, we sealed that day. Let's let our youth exit.
I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. And I'm gonna let it shine.